Okay, we've returned, and let's start the next case. This will be case 25. This is the first one in the new district of Maple Heights. Muddying the Waters.
Yes, just like Wells Lab. Manufactured in China at a fraction of the cost of the genuine article, then sold for retail on the open market. The stash from Murray's house has a street value of $300,000.
Matthew, I'm still reeling from everything that happened with the cult. To think it was all a front to get money for that crooked tech company Dreamlight. Dreamlight's CEO Rosetta Pierre claims plausible deniability, but she must have known the plan was to have the cult members kill themselves after giving them all their money. At least we stopped that from happening, and Rosetta's ally from the cult is in jail. But what I'd really like to know is what Grayson meant when he said that the Dreamlight satellite that fell in the forest wasn't a satellite at all. I'd like to know that too, but I'm afraid something more urgent's come up. The mayor's ordered us to go to Maple Heights. Public safety's at risk. Chief, why are we in Maple Heights? Is it about the flood? I know the whole area's gone underwater since the earthquake. Heard it's changed the shape of the land quite drastically. Yes, the flood is impressive, and is part of the reason we're here, because some aquatic creature has appeared in the floodwaters. It's not yet clear if the fish is dangerous, but the mayor doesn't want to take any risks with the residents' lives. Apparently they demanded police protection. Protection? From fish? Chief, with all due respect, the only live fish I ever dealt with was my guppy when I was 5. We're not animal patrol here. No, but it's our job to ensure public safety. Besides, you know how demanding the wealthy residents of Maple Heights can get. Speaking of wealthy residents, remember Lola Velez, Matthew? The singer superstar you met last time you were in Grimsboro? She called, said there was a body floating in her garden. In that case, Matthew, that takes first priority. Take Jones and investigate Lola's garden at once.
Yeah, he may be a jerk, but he's the jerk who knows your fate in his hands. Get 10 hours.
This will be case number 25, of course.
What did he say?
Of course, I am starting a little later than usual, because I have been a little bit preoccupied with other things.
I'll call Detective Price and set up surveillance. You're gonna kill me. It's nerves time. Calm down. Hey, look in my eyes, Officer Venosa. Victor Kartov is gonna kill me. All you have to do is go in there, let Victor hang himself, and you're going free. How many times have you done this?
Oh, I see it.
Huh? Worked the undercover case, protected an informant. Detective Price has. You're the cop in detail. Look, you get on the person, you set everything up, and you want to come back here. I'm not taking my eyes off you. Until Victor's
Wow, that was lucky. I thought I had blown it.
I got your back.
Oh, glove. Kite. 1 second already. Wow.
You think I feel guilty about Anton letting him get away because of it, huh? I don't know, do you? He made a run for it. Drew on him, but I couldn't pull the trigger.
Matthew, I can't believe how muddy this place is. It is completely flooded, and there is a man's body floating in the water. And look, he's been tied up with rope. This is no drowning victim. He was murdered. Yes, I told you, Senior Trooper Matthew. I told you, Senior Trooper Matthew, I had to call you. I remembered you from before. Only you can help. I have no clue who this guy is or why he ended up here. You need to take him away. Yes, we'll get right on that, Miss Velez. We'll also need to talk to you in a moment. Lola was no help telling us who our victim is, Matthew, but this wallet clearly has his ID in it. Apparently our victim's name is Jordan Coprolite. Coprolite. I agree. We better search his wallet for additional clues. And the victim seems to be clutching this glove, which can't be his. He's wearing different gloves. So the glove must be the killer's. The victim delivered us a clue to their own murder. Let's take a sample of that stuff inside. We gotta try to keep our head above the water in this case, Matthew.
I'm probably wrong if I can't tell to innocent novice. I don't trust you. You covered the back. All right.
So let's talk to Lola Velez already. Senior Trooper Matthew, did you remove the body? Do you know why it ended up in my garden? The investigation has only just begun, Miss Velez. Why don't you tell us how you found the body? Well, I had to evacuate because of this dreadful flood, but today I came by to get an outfit for an interview about my new album. And that body was just floating in my garden. It's bad enough that everything is a mess because of this disgusting flood. My once beautiful, gorgeous garden is now ruined. My clothes had to be practical instead of fashionable. And now a body? How am I supposed to deal with all these horrors? You said you didn't recognize the victim, but maybe you know his name? Jordan Copperlight? No idea who he is, Senior Trooper Matthew, but I find it very inconsiderate of him to have washed up here. Okay. If anything else important washes up, please call us. I better get some stars. Sit tight, everybody. Okay, I got 5 stars. Check out the victim's wallet right now.
And then you pay his medical bills when he got sick. So you want to try that again? What makes
There we go. A loyalty card. Looks like our victim's wallet still had tons of stuff in it, despite its aquatic journey, including that loyalty club card for a restaurant. The elephant in the room. Wait, I've heard of it. It's supposed to be an upscale Indian restaurant. You're right, Matthew. If the victim was a loyal restaurant customer, we should check it out for clues, and maybe some samosas.
They wanted it dead. I convinced them to let it go. It's my responsibility. My dad. They don't forgive it, Dad. The guy you gotta believe me. I love her. She was never supposed to be wrong. She told me Aunt Thomas called her Angus. I had no choice. I sent somebody else. 2 nights ago, someone shows up. My guy followed me on the rooftop. I got there and saw his name. No, that's right. It ran. They shouldn't have done it. But now you're complaining. Where's Marie? I can't tell. Well, do you understand what they will do to me? I don't care. I don't. Okay. She's a little dehydrated, that's all. Emotions are gonna take me back to bowling park. I'm sorry. The way things went down. I should have done a better job.
There we go.
Just leave it at that. I don't want to. One thing I learned from just because you want it doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Okay, now I am going to get the remaining stars, but not right now, obviously. Everything looks so pretty, and what's that delicious smell? I should bring Zoe here on one of our dates. Yes, you're right, Matthew. We must concentrate on our investigation. What did you find? Ah, this table placard has our victim's name on it, but there seems to be another name. Let's uncover it. And what's this broken frame? Fixing it might provide a lead. Let's get started, Matthew.
Even Jalila got a hot date? Your way. See you tomorrow, Tom. Good night. Hey. Come on. I will, boss. I just want to make sure Anton gets processed. Just like you. It's off today. Got time.
There we go. Aubrey Copperlight. This reservation placard was setting a table for a victim and his wife, one Aubrey Copperlight. Here we go again, Matthew. Time to contact Miss Copperlight and tell her the bad news. Aubrey Copperlight? Greensboro PD. I'm afraid we have some bad news about your husband. Oh dear, is it drugs? No. What drugs? Jordan struggles with them. I thought if he hadn't come home it'd either be because of another photo shoot. He's a great photographer, you know, or a drug relapse.
Track boys in her coat out of a flooded cave. Plus a July 4th protest on the statue.
No, we're afraid he's been murdered. Murdered?
Created a Bible.
My poor Jordan, just as he was getting over drugs too. We were going to adopt a child, start a family. We were going to be so happy. We'll let you grieve in peace, Miss Copperlight. We're sorry for your loss.
The African American people have made to the United States, to the world, also African Americans that are in the Bible. Some of you are going to be shocked to know that. But there are many, many African American people that are mentioned in Scripture in the Bible. At the front of this Bible, there are all kinds of people that are African American that have made contributions like astronauts, gospel preachers,
Here we go.
politicians,
Great fibers.
about African American.
Matthew, the sample you picked up from the killer's glove will provide a lead. Let's send it to Rupert.
If you want to pay right now for $119.99, we're going to send you a CD-ROM that has 4 translations of the Bible, a Bible commentary, a Bible dictionary, Strong's Concordance.
3 hours.
The list
One more thing to
goes
do,
on of all the things
and I can get out of here.
that this CD-ROM has. Also, there is a DVD that you can watch in here that will show you how that the English Bible got translated. So order your African American History Bible today and find out all of the great African American people that has made contributions to the kingdom of God.
Here we go.
This world. Call the number on your screen for $119.
Matthew, that's our victim on this plaque. Seems he won this year's curry eating competition, organized by the chef. Maybe Anuj Ghosh will have more to tell us about our victim. Let's go talk to him.
Of the Word of God in 6 languages. So your gift of $25, $50, or even $100 or more will have.
Welcome to my restaurant, Senior Tripper Matthew. We're one of the few open during the flood. Lucky for you because our food is delicious. Sadly, we're not here to eat. We want to ask you questions about one of your customers, Jordan Copperlight. He was this year's curry competition winner. Ah yes, Mr. Copperlight, a regular, loves my pork vindaloo. He actually booked a table but never turned up. Yes, I'm afraid that's easily explained. He's been murdered. Oh, what? How am I supposed to keep a business going with floods and murders going on? That's a good question. And I'll see you guys when these two are done. See y'all later. Okay, we have returned. Autopsy should be ending pretty soon, but in the meantime, I'm going to get the results of the gray fibers right now. Matthew, I must say, I thoroughly disapprove of floods. If I'd wanted dampness and mold, I'd have stayed in England. At least our precinct is dry, Rupert. Why don't you tell Matthew what you found out from that sample? It came from our killer's glove. Ah, yes. Analyzing that hair proved to be quite the diversion. It's horse hair. Further examination showed traces of hair tape, the kind used to tie the horse's tail during a polo match. Your killer must participate in the sport, given they left horsehair behind. Our killer might enjoy playing polo, but they'll stop horsing around once you put them behind bars, Matthew.
When the nurse told me to reach my plateau, I didn't want to hear that. Because I don't believe I have a plateau.
Yeah, let's see. You done yet? Not quite. Just sit tight, buddy. 3, 2, 1. And let's check it right now. Well, Matthew, interestingly enough, for your victim found in the flood, drowning wasn't the cause of death. Your victim was hit in the abdomen, probably with some kind of baseball bat. The blow burst his internal organs, causing him to die within minutes. And I'm guessing then the killer tied the victim's feet to a stone and threw him in the water, hoping to conceal the crime. Exactamente. The body was carried away by floodwaters, only to wash up where you found it. According to the hemorrhage and the skin's water damage, I can tell you he's been dead for 24 hours. I tried to find out more, but 24 hours in the water is a long time. It's impossible to retrieve any forensic information on your killer. But I did have a closer look at the way your victim was tied to that stone, Matthew. To that stone. Matthew, to have the rope securely fastened this way, your killer has to be a knot expert. Are they? Well, they'll be tying themselves into knots when they realize Matthew's on their trail. Matthew, we're getting ourselves into deep water with this investigation. Photographer Jordan Copperlight was killed by a blow to the stomach, then tied to a stone and thrown into the flood. The body ended up in superstar Lola Velez's garden, but she didn't even know our victim. His wife told us he was a recovering drug addict. She feared a relapse when Jordan didn't come home. She seemed genuinely grieved by the death of her husband. Such a tragic story. We need to find Jordan Copperlight's killer, but how are we supposed to find anything useful about his murder? The flood has most likely washed away all evidence. Matthew, do I have news for you? Kathy, what is it? I know where your victim was killed. Ooh.
ACSS is characterized by irrational behavior, radical emotional dissonance, and cognitive malfunction.
And I'll see you guys for chapter 2. Don't go anywhere, folks. And we're going to start chapter 2 of Muddying the Waters. The last left off with Kathy saying she knows where our victim was killed. This is it. You know how your victim was killed in one place and his body washed up in another? Well, I know exactly where the murder happened. So where was it? And how did you manage to find that out? After grilling Martine about the body, I updated my geo-tracking software parameters. It was able to calculate what are called drift equations. According to your victim's weight, the weather, the time of the murder, and the place where Matthew found the body, I deduced that the victim was killed at the West Bridge, or whatever's left of it. Right, the bridge. I heard it split in two after the earthquake. It's not the safest of places right now, but if that's where our victim was murdered, that's where we'll go. Lead the way, Matthew.
Steroids. Several different diets. Clonidine. Every month there was no treatment. A new miracle cure. When I said nothing else. What about special ed? You hated special ed. It was always too loud and disturbing. When my marriage started falling apart, we tried sending Ian to respite care for the weekend. They'd call us up usually by Friday night to take him back. And then he started having seizures. I was afraid that he could kill himself. He needed me, but he was getting too big. He stopped letting me. She used to have his teeth up and medicine.
I don't think I see the rope anywhere.
Whether it was an institution or group home.
Oh, there we go.
I couldn't
Okay.
Peter threw his pooper in the room to me when he was listening. I told McDonald he was my baby. I loved him so much.
Matthew, have you seen those waterfalls? No wonder the district is flooded. The earthquakes literally made it fall down below water level. Sorry, I'll try and focus. I see you found a rope, and it's got blood on it. You're right. The rope is identical to the one the killer used to tie our victim's legs to a stone. So Kathy was right. Jordan was killed here. We must collect a sample of that gunk from the killer's rope. And this is a disaster kit from flood control. If someone was patrolling here, they might have seen something. No name, but there's a signature. Matthew, let's search our database for the owner.
The janitor ate dinner on the steps. I believe your son died in a fire. No, I did not. Miss Parnell.
I'm gonna get some stars. Sit tight, folks. Okay, now I got all stars. I'm up to 22.
No law allows children in foster care access to personal documents and the freedom to open a bank account.
The program led by the University of Hawaii targeting obesity impacting safety just received exceptional federal funding. I'm interested in more on the Canada Bonds and the private studios provided that allows researchers to...
There we are, 7.
That's why follow-up is ongoing for more than 5 years now.
Great job, Matthew. Let's send the sample from the killer's rope to the lab to find out what it is.
UH is leading a mission to tackle obesity impacting Keiki. So our program was designed to focus on Native communities all around the Pacific. So we selected communities that have a higher proportion in Hawaii of Native Hawaiian population. Our Oahu research teams have spent time compiling information in selected communities like Mamakopi, Oahu, and Hilo.
12 hours.
$1 award from the USDA, which will final research going across part of the Pacific region.
And the signature.
Alaska to the American Samoa. Research compiling since 2011 some of the world's highest obesity rates are found in the Pacific.
There we go, that's 1.
That's agriculture, and that's farming, and Pacific. More canned food, of course there's always our Spam and other canned meats that are very popular across the region.
There we are. Danny Gibbs. The signature on that relief kit matches a certain Danny Gibbs. Why does that name sound familiar? Oh, right. He's the relief worker we met while investigating his brother's murder right after the earthquake. I wonder if he saw something on his patrol of the West Bridge. Let's go find Danny, Matthew.
Get harder and harder to reverse. It's today a healthy foundation for keeping across the Pacific. Now, since research began with
Senior Trooper Matthew, nice to see you again. I shake your hand, but I've been handling sandbags all day. One handshake and you'll be sandy for days. Yes, the flood made a mess of everything. Speaking of which, do you know of a Jordan Coprolite? Coprolite rings a bell, but I can't find him in the missing persons log. How long has he been missing for? Actually, he's been murdered, thrown into the floodwaters from the bridge where we found your kit. Did you see anything peculiar? I'm sorry, Senior Trooper Matthew, I didn't notice anything. But of course, I can't keep an eye on everywhere at once. Our rescue and relief team has had no rest. After flowing lava, we have to deal with flowing water. It's exhausting. My only comfort is when we play polo on the dry fields. Well, Mr. Gibbs, if you remember anything, let us know. Well, there's a black mark against him.
The other bill makes it illegal to set up a tent or other form of living quarters on a sidewalk if shelter space is available. The mayor says unlike previous sit-line legislation, these bills are not related to providing access to businesses.
And I'll see you guys when the orange powder is done. See y'all. And we're back. Let's get the results of the orange powder right now. Rupert, I still say you should try my maple cinnamon peanut butter banana toast. Do you hear yourself? Does that really sound good to you? Actually, Amir, could I try it? Sorry, Matthew, I know we're here to get the results of the sample from the killer's rope. Did you guys find anything? Yes, that's why we started talking about sweet treats. This substance owes its color to cinnamon. It also contains yeast, sugar, and butter. In other words, the sample was leftovers from a cinnamon roll. Seems your killer enjoyed a couple before murdering your victim. So our killer has a sweet tooth. Unfortunately for them, they'll have to leave their pastry behind when they're sent to prison. Alright, Matthew, we're getting somewhere. What do you say about returning to where we found the body?
I've tried lots of things for my joint pain.
Now, watch it.
Okay, and now let's investigate the crime scene.
Think you would show these guys how it's done? Please.
Real people with active psoriatic arthritis are changing the way they fight. They're moving forward with Cosentyx. It's a different kind of targeted biologic. It's proven to help people find less joint pain and clearer skin. Don't use it if you are allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting Cosentyx, you should be checked for tuberculosis. Increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms of an infection, or if you receive a vaccine for
I think I see a clue.
inflammatory bowel disease. Tell your doctor if symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions may occur.
With less pain, watch me.
For less
Lost
joint
phone.
pain and clearer skin, ask your rheumatologist about Cosentyx.
I've never felt closer to my mom.
I'm pregnant in the exact same place that she was.
Here we go. Pile of debris.
Especially hasn't done that over the love.
It's not easy.
Here we go.
Our grandmother.
You weren't invited.
That's the best kind of part of little girl. What did you do to you?
Booking a flight is the last minute doesn't have to be expensive. Just go to Priceline. It's the best place to book a flight a few days before my
That's the victim's phone. It's got his face on it,
Just tap and go.
but it's covered in mud. Think you'll manage to unlock it, Matthew? And you think a clue might have gotten stuck in that bunch of debris? Okay, let's have a look through it.
Electronics to fashion to Amazon devices. Amazon Prime Day, July 16th through July 17th.
Oriental Tabulated Brand is our only provider of labor and materials for kitchens, baths, and flooring, all at noticeably lower prices. Beyond standard capital options, we have the latest trends and sports countertops, as well as new
Torn photo. Matthew, looks like there was a torn photo floating in that junk. Getting stuck in there is probably the reason why it's not too soaked. I guess you better piece it back together.
Hurry to Ashley Home Store Hawaii for a Stars and Stripes event and get unbeatable savings on every room in your home. Buy any item for your living room, dining, or bedroom and get the second item at 20% off. Choose a new set section on stunning dining table or stylish bed and get the second item at 20% off. Or choose 18 months financing and get everything you want. Celebrate the freedom
Okay.
of saving. Happening now during the Stars and Stripes event at Ashley Home Store Hawaii. This is home.
Oh gosh.
This month, check out USA's must-watch list movies anywhere, everywhere. Action makes people out of words, but words kick ass too. Just know you can get catchphrase. USA's must-watch list movies. All this month on demand.
Oh, jeez. Matthew, that picture is quite something. It seems to be showing some sort of ugly lizard creature woman. Wait, you're right. The lizard woman in question looks like some twisted version of Lola Velez. And those are our victim's initials in the corner. So this is his creation. Lola Velez, yeah, she didn't know Jordan, but he just liked her enough to do this. Let's see what she has to say about it.
That hour? I had no idea. It would help if we had a recent photo.
Mrs. Sam's kid had a lesion on the floor.
She didn't say anything.
Senior Trooper Matthew, you're back. I would offer you a cinnamon roll, but I'm afraid I ate them all. The flood and the murder have led me to stress scene.
Dying is pretty drastic.
I know what that feels like, but we're here to talk about this artwork the victim did of you. Artwork? Senior Trooper Matthew, this is not art. This is a farce. And I'm the subject. So you're familiar with the photo, but you told us you didn't even know the victim. Well, I lied. That sham of a photographer made fun of me. I hated him. I hired Jordan to touch up some pictures of me. Nothing major. I just wanted to look fresh for the new album cover. But he turned me into a lizard lady. Said I looked sexier with scales and slime. And when I demanded my original prints back, he refused to return them. He was a ridiculous man-child who took pleasure in mocking others. I'm not sorry he's dead.
We have sandflies in the city.
Harsh words, Lola. I hope your temper didn't get the best of you and lead you to do something you'd regret.
Incubation is 4 weeks.
I'm betting Kate was out of the country sometime in the last month.
And maybe you're aware?
We used to see leishmaniasis in Americans who travel to Peru or Brazil. But in the past few years, the highest incidence has been in the Middle East. We pulled Kate's financial records. Kate might have paid
They are?
on her credit card, but she did make a large withdrawal from a savings account.
Why did they cash her ticket? You still need ID for it.
You might have paid for the credit card. Maybe Kate didn't let her know what she had done.
She definitely didn't want her to know what's about
Yeah.
her history. Kate took off 3 weeks ago.
Why
Said she had
6'4"?
family. She ran Jerry Sandflies there. She even confirmed she left the country. Funny you should ask.
Matthew, the victim's phone has been very damaged by the water. Hopefully Kathy will still manage to salvage something from it.
Girl Kate going through baggage security check. That's all international flights.
Any clue where she's going?
I put in a request to all the international airlines. They said it'll take a little time.
You're in front of the Joint Terrorism Task Force. We'll be able to help settle.
12 hours.
7 JFK to Istanbul, September 17th.
See you guys then.
That's it.
And we're back. Let's get the results of the victim's phone from Kathy. Matthew, that water-damaged phone you sent me reminded me of the time baby Sammy threw my phone down the toilet. If we look on the bright side, at least now I know how to get data out of a waterlogged device. Does that mean you managed to salvage our victim's phone? Well, 24 hours in the water is a lot, but I managed to retrieve his latest voicemail. Matthew knew you wouldn't let us down, Kathy. What was the voicemail? The message was from the victim's wife. She sounded very angry.
48-hour
Told him not to bother coming home after the stunt he'd pulled. Looks like Aubrey was hiding something from us. Let's go talk to her.
So calling Macy Lynn on changing stories, they definitely got paid more.
And for all of us?
Oh yeah, goat cheese and sun-dried tomato.
Made you for pepperoni then. I'm full of surprises.
This whole case is a crack. I mean, I kind of called it.
Hello?
Yeah, we still don't know what happened.
How do you ever really know what happened? Between a man, a woman, alone in a room, there's 100 different stories out there.
Mrs. Copperlight, we know you left your husband an angry voicemail shortly before his death. Why did you tell Jordan not to come home? Senior Trooper Matthew, how did you find out?
It's the women who get
Fine. If you must know, Jordan and I were having trouble with the adoption. He said he wanted kids, but his action proved the contrary. After months of paperwork and calls, we were finally promised a child. All that was left was to pass the home inspection, which was yesterday. I spent the night preparing everything. I got my polo trophies out from storage. I tied the curtain cords in the most elaborate knots. I even ordered cinnamon rolls from Anuj Ghosh's restaurant. I usually keep those for myself, but I wanted to make the best impression possible. Everything was perfect. But Jordan chose that time to get drugged to the eyeballs again. He acted as though we were adopting the agent. Oh, that can't have been good. I was mortified, and so was the agent. I knew it had been a disaster, but I didn't expect a call informing us that we had been blacklisted by every agency in the country. Blacklisted! I'll never be able to have the family I've always wanted, and it's all Jordan's fault. What's worse, he didn't care. He just went to hang out with his pal Nathaniel Earl, like it was any other day. I'm sorry your husband disappointed you this way, Mrs. Copperlight, but if you decided to take revenge on him, you'll be receiving a call from the law. Wow, Matthew, it doesn't seem like our victim was easy to live with. But who is that Nathaniel Earl Aubrey mentioned? If they hung out shortly before the victim was murdered, we must talk to him.
Why is that? You're ready to graduate. I was one of the university's store manager. There's the way I it was a matter of character, integrity.
Nathaniel Earl? Oh man, it's the cops. Why are you here? I was about to go meet my buddy, man. Why are you here? Your buddy Jordan Copperlight? We've got some bad news. He's been murdered. What? Oh man, but I just saw him yesterday. Oh man, this news is tying my stomach in like a constrictor knot, man. Did you notice anything weird when you last saw Jordan? Oh man, I'm no cop. We just hung out like usual, man. And he said, see you tomorrow, so I was like, see you tomorrow, you know? After that, I went home, man. Got myself some cinnamon buns and fell asleep. We see. Well, if you do remember anything, call us. I'm not sure what to make of this case, Matthew. Seems like our drug-addicted victim had a talent for provoking anger. Lola went from pretending she didn't know him to admitting she's glad he's dead. And his wife Aubrey was furious at Jordan for ruining her chances of adopting a child. She said that instead of being responsible, he ran out to hang out with his buddy Nathaniel, which... Oh, wait. Oh. Wait, Matthew. I think the plank I'm standing on isn't very stiff. Oh. Ah! Oh my gosh. We'll see you guys for Chapter 3. Don't go anywhere. Okay, we've returned. Let's start Chapter 3 of Money in the Waters. We last left off with Jones falling. This was it. Oh gosh. Thanks for giving me a hand climbing out of that water, Matthew. Look at me. These floodwaters are gross. I can't continue the investigation like this, Matthew. I'll go clean myself up, and then I can meet you at the restaurant to search for more clues. Sound good?
Crazy. Oh, yeah, I feel bad for Cordelia. Her father was the narcissist. She fell for another one. And how did you get this tape?
I can't tell you. I promised I wouldn't use this as a dollar. But I heard this place.
You're asking for immediate dismissal of all charges. Mr. Barber,
People have no objection.
so ordered. Mr. Wilkins, you are free to go.
When some lose some, Mr. Baldwin.
Last time.
Magazine.
I'm gonna go upstairs and then call us.
So Donald just gets laid.
My bad.
Another clue.
Three girls. They lie. The road. They just get escaped.
General policy would be
2 seconds.
I get that.
Yeah, usually I do, but this time, Gracie, you were right about this girl all along.
Not really. I missed the whole paid them off. Just as fun.
Here I am, Matthew, all clean and fraud-free. What did I miss? Oh, you're right. That's our victim's face on that magazine cover, but someone's vandalized it. Maybe collecting those particles on it will help us know who did this. And that's our victim's bag. There's his name on it. Let's dig in, Matthew. There's no time to waste.
I'm so sorry.
Currently enjoying a little soup right now.
Case against the company and my father.
Those photographs. Drug baggies. Matthew, these baggies in the victim's satchel are drugs. I've been on the force long enough to recognize cocaine when I see it. Well, we know the victim did drugs, and this here is evidently a message from his dealer. JC, these are on the house. Best send them to the lab. Gabriel can analyze the writing and tell us who gave these to the victim. me, people. I don't mind the fact that I eat, but sometimes, hey, you gotta fill yourself up. Let's take a closer look at these particles from the victim's defaced picture, Matthew.
In the criminal justice system, sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. In New York City, the dedicated detectives who investigate these vicious felonies are members of an elite squad known as the Special Victims Unit. These are their stories.
Alright, let's see. Three. Construction sand. Those particles on the magazine were construction sand. That type of sand is specifically used in flood relief efforts. You're right, Matthew. Danny did tell us his hands were covered in sand from installing sandbags around Maple Heights. So he's the one who vandalized our victim's face? Why would Danny do that? Let's go ask him. Mr. Gibbs, you said you didn't know Jordan Copperlight, but we know you vandalized his face on this magazine cover. I thought the restaurant would throw the magazine out. I'm sorry I lied, Senior Trooper Matthew. I just have so much to do. I don't have time to get involved in this investigation, especially now that time waster's dead. Time waster? What do you mean? Copperlight was a mess, Senior Trooper Matthew. He called me 100 times a day. Said his house was flooded, but there was never any damage. One time I rushed over and it turned out he was so high he didn't realize he was in the bathtub. And then he wouldn't let me leave. Wow, talk about getting tied up in a fake emergency. I have better things to do. Real emergencies to handle. People's lives are at stake and he's just focused on himself. But now that he's gone, I can finally get things done. I can give master classes about fall protection and rescue knots, and how to construct water barriers. We understand your frustration with Jordan, Mr. Gibbs, but you better not have sacrificed one life in order to save others. Alright. Security camera. Sorry about that. I have my mouth open with food. My mistake there. 35115. 513388. Well done on unlocking that camera, Matthew. Let's press play and have a look at the footage. Well, the only reason I even come here is because my wife loves this place. I don't need people like you in my restaurant. Make sure the door doesn't kick you on your way out. You'll pay for this, gosh. Matthew, that seemed like a pretty big fight between the chef and our victim. Why didn't he mention it when we first talked? Let's go ask Anuj. Ah, Senior Trooper Matthew, I was about to close the restaurant and go to my polo match, but I can return to the kitchen and make you my favorite recipe if you'd like. Actually, Mr. Gosh, we've got bigger things on our plate. We know you and Jordan had a strong disagreement. What was it about? A disagreement? Pah! That imbecile came to me saying he had been sick after eating at my restaurant. He was an idiot, claimed my food was a perfect alternative to laxatives. My food is authentic. If your stomach is too much of a fragile sissy, there's the door. You seem to be pretty unforgiving. As unforgiving as the sea. My father taught me how to sail. Every knot had its purpose. I'm the same with my cooking. Every spice has its place. And that piece of garbage had the audacity to tell me it made him sick. Well, I hope you didn't think Jordan deserved to die after insulting your food. And I'll see you guys when the drugs are done. Don't go anywhere, you're not going to want to miss this. Okay, let's get back to the case here and let's get the results of the drugs. I miss you too, Carmia. The days seem unbearably long when you're not by my side. Bella, my colleagues are here. I have to go. Well, well, did we come at a bad time? Who is that on the phone? A love interest we don't know about? It's not important to your investigation. Shall we focus on the drugs you sent me? Right. They had a message from the victim's dealer. Did you manage to find out who it is? Well, see the way the writing is slanted? It means the author is a free spirit who likes to socialize with others. And the high pressure of the strokes means the dealer was a good friend of your victims. Matthew is right. We have a suspect that perfectly fits that description. Nathaniel Earl. So he was our victim's drug dealer? We've got to bring him in.
Hey, come on, give me a little credit. I mean, it sounds like I'm some kind of hotbed.
Please, that puts you about even with John McEnroe. Except McEnroe knows when to stop.
Mr. Earl, the game is up. We know you were Jordan's drug dealer. Man, what? What are you talking about? I don't sell nothing to nobody. Please, we found the note you left Jordan. You must have been pretty close if you were willing to give him free drugs. Ah, man, you found me out, man. Not cool. I'm just making friends in my own way. Selling drugs to Jordy is how we became buds, man. Besides, it makes life more enjoyable, you know, man. Like, have you ever tried playing polo sober, man? And I can tell you it's much more fun when half our team is off their face. Why are we not surprised you're not taking this conversation seriously? Nathaniel Earl, we're taking you in for drug dealing. Oh man, nah, who's gonna bail me out now that Jordy's gone, man?
You're good. Bush steps in this house. I'm not gonna waste time.
Well, Matthew, it seems literally the only person mourning our victim's passing is this drug dealer. It says a lot about a person. All the other suspects seem to be saying good riddance. Among them is Danny Gibbs, whose time Jordan wasted with fake emergency calls. And he insulted the chef's food to his face, saying it was an alternative to laxatives. But who found Jordan so annoying that they wanted to kill him? Good idea, Matthew. We need to return to where he was murdered. Let's go back to the bridge.
In warfare, over 25 years, I vote for work harder. Restaurants, good to last forever.
Lives that go wild for sticks are the measure of a God's big love. Feel the life you love most with Nature's Recipe. Bigger the line.
Okay, let's see if we can get him.
Tell you first. Blow up. It is cool. Blow up. Shot top deal. Blow someone's phone. It's a killer. Blow out of that. You see, blow up.
Locked box. Traffic barrier.
Protect your pet with the #1 name in flea and tick protection. Line Plus. Tested by vets for nearly 20 years.
I won this 5-inch TV for less than $30 on DealDash.com. I got all
Victim's
this
necklace.
for less than $50 on DealDash.com.
These aren't actors. They're real people who got real savings at DealDash.com.
There we go.
99%. But hurry, everything must go.
And shipping is always free.
Visit DealDash.com and
Answer the question you would want on me. What's your gripe with the president anyway?
he calls himself the education president.
This necklace looks familiar, Matthew.
Has some serious problems.
You're right.
I see
It's the same one the victim is wearing in that restaurant
I see kids
photo.
who can't even find India on a map. Would it be fair to
So it belongs to our victim. The killer must have torn it off during the murder. Let's gather a sample of that goo. And I agree. We should open that locked box. Let's get to the bottom of this investigation, Matthew.
Now, why didn't you tell us what was going on?
Because you can't let me fucking job. Because nobody loves making me young again. So your life isn't the same as it used to be.
Well, it's a change, but it's happened before, hasn't it? I bet you'd like to try it out.
Hey,
What did you do the next day when you had to
There we go.
put in your life?
Creamy substance. Great job, Matthew. You managed to collect the sample the killer left on our victim's necklace. Let's send it to the lab.
Sweetheart, you're in exactly the same position.
not exactly. I'm 5 years older. And nobody wants me around. Oh, honey, we want you around. We just can't afford to pay you.
Rose, look at me. Rose, listen, you are feeling sorry for yourself. Sure, you're 5 years older. So am I. So is Blanche. You have a few more wrinkles. So do I. So is Blanche.
OKW.
But you're a little fickle around the middle. So is Blanche.
SNE. Yep.
I asked my teacher for help like you all told me to.
There was a bloody bat in that box. You're right. Martine did say the killer used something like a bat to hit our victim with. Matthew, let's send the bat to the lab and see if it's our murder weapon.
Blanche, that is terrible. I hope you told him off.
Well, first I was so
9 hours, and I'll see you guys next time. See you all then.
I looked him straight in the eye and I said,
Okay, we returned. Let's get the results of the creamy substance, and let's put a killer behind bars here. Matthew, did you know that only female mosquitoes bite? No, but we're guessing it's related to the goose sample the killer left on our victim's necklace? Yes, it is. The sample was anti-itching cream, specifically for mosquito bites. Which isn't surprising. With all this water, mosquitoes are everywhere. But to be using so much, your killer's bites must be pretty bad. So our killer has visible mosquito bites. Matthew, they'll be scratching their heads wondering how you ever managed to catch them. And the baseball bat. Matthew, this bag you sent me is what was used to hit your victim. The blood on it was his. So the bat is our murder weapon. Yes, but that's not all I found out. After close inspection, I found traces of sweat and recovered some DNA from the handle. Matthew, thanks to the partial DNA, I can tell you that your killer has black hair. Black hair? That's a black mark against our killer. Matthew, we're close to catching them. Alright, Matthew, time for our killer to swim to prison. Let's go arrest him. It's not Lola Velez. Not the wife. Wait a minute. No, not Danny Gibbs. It's not Nathaniel Earl. Who'd have thought? It's Anuj Ghosh, the restaurant chef. Anuj Ghosh, you're under arrest for the murder of Jordan Copperlight. What are you talking about? He insulted my food, but I never killed a man. And yet we found traces of your restaurant's cinnamon rolls on the rope used to tie Jordan to a stone. Please, everyone eats my pastries. They're a great comfort to people in the area. Or have you forgotten that we're coping with a flood? Yes, the flood. You had to be sure the body would remain attached to the stone. Your knowledge of knots came in useful. Body? I don't know anything about dead bodies. I'm just a cook. Well, that explains why you were unable to successfully hide the evidence. We found the necklace you tore off the victim's neck. It had the cream you used on your mosquito bites. Confess, Mr. Ghosh. We found your sweat on the murder weapon. We have DNA proof that you did it. Fine, I did kill him, but it's his own fault. Senior Trooper Matthew, you already know we had a fight about my food. Jordan said it had the same effect as laxatives, but he didn't stop there. The next day I found him in my kitchen, putting actual laxatives in my tikka masala. What? Jordan was trying to make everyone sick from your food? Yes! He was going to sabotage my restaurant. All my customers would think my food was dangerous. I saw red, Senior Trooper Matthew. I grabbed my bat and chased him out of my restaurant. We ended up at the nearby bridge. I swung my bat at him. Next thing I know, he doubled over, coughing up blood, and then he died. I swear I never meant to kill him, Senior Trooper Matthew. Just shake him up. I panicked. I didn't know what to do. I tied it to a stone and threw it into the flood, hoping it would wash away my sins. I'm afraid your sins cannot be washed away so easily. Anuj Ghosh, you are under arrest. Mr. Ghosh, you stand accused of the murder of Jordan Copperlight. How do you plead? Your Honor, I'm guilty and I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. The sight of him spoiling my exquisite food sent me into a rage. Please, don't be too harsh with me. I'll let you be the judge of taste in your own kitchen, Mr. Ghosh, but you are in my court now. I sentence you to 8 years in prison. I never meant for any of this to happen. Well, Matthew, it seems our victim died as he lived, making trouble for people. To think he wanted to sabotage a restaurant's food just to prove some twisted point. But Mr. Ghosh sure has a temper. I'm glad I don't work for a boss like that. Now, Jones, I wouldn't speak too soon. You haven't seen me angry yet. And, I hope I never do, Chief. That's the spirit. And Matthew, now that you're done with your investigation, I need to speak with you. So as we take a look at the other ones, Danny Gibbs was cleared after clue 3. Nathaniel Earl, blonde hair. Lola Velez cleared from the start. Aubrey Copperlight, no mosquito bites. It was Anuj Ghosh, and we'll see you guys for Demons Among Us 1-6. Okay, we have returned. Let's start Demons Among Us 1-6. Good job solving the murder in flooded Maple Heights, Matthew. We can now focus on the mayor's concerns, the mystery fish that have apparently been invading the district. I've requested all available information on the fish, but I'm just getting panicked accounts that don't provide a clear picture. Senior Trooper Matthew, help me, it's awful. I need to talk to you about that fish right now. Well, Matthew, I call this a lead. Please take Gloria and go talk to Miss Velez. Wait, before you go, Matthew, remember that cult member? The one who turned out to be working for Dream Life and told us the satellite in the forest isn't actually a satellite? Yes, we definitely need to follow up on that. All we know about the satellite is what news reports told us from when it fell a year ago. Well, Zoe had the idea to contact one of her old friends, Louis LaRue, the reporter who filmed the whole thing at the time. Excellent. Well, Matthew, go talk to Louis LaRue and then go see Miss Velez with Gloria. Oh gosh, those fish are stinking scary. Senior Trooper Matthew, let me start by saying how glad I am that you found Zoe safe and sound. You and me both, Mr. LaRue, but we're here to talk about the footage you took in the forest a year ago of the crash. Ah yes, the satellite, the biggest story of my career. Can you tell us what happened that day? Okay, well, I was on my evening walk when there was a light streaking through the sky. Obviously, I took out my camera and ran to where it had landed. When I arrived, people in science suits are already sealing off the area. Dream Life was saying their satellite had malfunctioned. They didn't let anyone come too close. Did you actually see the satellite? Well, no, but Dream Life took charge of the situation. I saw them talking to city officials. They promised to contain the radiation and construct a dome. Why are you asking all these questions? Senior Trooper Matthew, do you think there's more to the satellite story? No, of course not. Just checking routine details. Speaking of, do you have the footage from that day? Surely there's more to it. Oh yeah, Zoe mentioned you might want to see it. Dream Life demanded I give them the uncut footage for security reasons, but I do still have the audio tape from my interviews. But I slipped on the way here and it fell out of my pocket. It could be by the West Bridge. I can't tell you exactly where. Okay, I guess that's something. Thank you, Mr. LaRue. Senior Trooper Matthew and I will have a look at the bridge. Oh wait, did I pick the right crime scene? I don't think I did. Oh well. I guess you guys can see me in action here. Yeah, I don't think I picked the right crime scene. Oh well. But hey, you get to see 2 scenes. Excuse me. Yep, that's definitely... Yeah, I definitely picked the wrong crime scene, but that's alright. This time I'll get it. There we go. Sorry, it's just that I've been kind of dealing with a bit of a cold here. A bit of sneezes to go with. A bit of sneezes too. So it's kind of affecting my ability, but obviously I'm well enough to do this. So don't mind me, folks. Just bear with me. Oh, there it is. There we go. So am I going to keep that other crime scene in? Sure, why not? Matthew, that must be LaRue's tape with all his interviews, but it's broken. Come on, we must restore it. It amazes me that people actually still use cassette tapes. Now that's really old school. That's the era I grew up in. He managed to restore the tape of Louis LaRue's interviews from the day the so-called satellite crashed. Quick, Matthew, let's send it to Kathy. Well, 3 hours only. Cool. So, Miss Velez, what did you have to tell us about the mystery fish invading Maple Heights? I saw some in my garden. Well, at least I thought it was them. They were weird and ugly, and I wanted them gone. This is exactly the opportunity we were hoping for. We'll check with other team members to set a trap in your garden. Don't just buy any old trap, Senior Trooper Matthew. Take this. I want the best money can buy. Matthew, what's this I hear about you setting up a trap for a mystery fish? Well, apparently some fish swam into Lola's garden. We're about to go check the trap. Why? As it happens, I'm quite interested in marine biology. I studied it for a while back in Monaco during my romance with... That's not important. What I mean to say is, I like to come with you to look at the fish. Wow, Martine, you sure led an interesting life. And yes, feel free to come along to check on the fish trap. Oh, I was just here, of course, by accident. Now, I can do this with a purpose. Okay. There it is. The fish trap. Do not see. Oh, there's the lantern. Notebook and towel. There we go. I didn't expect the place to be this muddy, Matthew. How do the fish even survive in this? I have no idea, but let's hope the trap caught one. Watch your fingers when you search it, Matthew. Oh boy, that looks like a lanternfish or something like that. Matthew, we caught a fish. The trap worked. I don't recognize the species, which means this is our mystery fish. It's pretty menacing for such a small creature. Size does not always matter, Gloria. Matthew, it would be my pleasure to examine the fish for you. Well, thank you, Martine. That's 6 hours. I'll see you guys when that's done. Both of these are done, rather. I'll see. Okay, folks, we've returned. Let's get the results of the strange fish. First of all, from Martine. Ah, Matthew, I can already see my name in all the scientific journals as the sexiest author to write an in-depth article on a new fish species. So what did you find out? Is it as dangerous as it looks? Well, the fish obviously have a sharp set of teeth, and they're omnivorous, meaning they'll eat flesh as well as plants. But going by the specimen, their testosterone levels are low, indicating a lack of aggression. So, they'll bite, but only if provoked. Is that it? Can we tell the mayor that there's no need to worry then? Not so fast, Matthew. I haven't even told you my main discovery. The gills of these fish display a lack of evolution to increasingly acidic waters, meaning that this is an ancient species. And having done the phylogenetic analysis of its DNA sequence, I can tell you it can only be native to Zerta. So you're saying this fish is from the ancient city that got unearthed by the earthquake? That's freaky! They must have survived in one of the underground cisterns all these centuries and then gotten into Maple Heights after Zerta resurfaced again. Then it's clear what needs to happen next. We must have a talk with an expert on Zerta, and Ray Parker, the chief's husband, immediately comes to mind. Great! Let's find our expert right away, Matthew.
Well, I don't mind the bargain, but it's like the back of my hand. It's like the girls. Well, we can renegotiate. I'll do the back end.
Mr. Parker, I'm sure you've heard all the commotion about that fish that's been invading Maple Heights. Indeed. An overreaction, don't you think? Actually, we caught one. We determined that it's an ancient Zertan species. What? Tell me, does it have a light antenna? And is its skin all red? And does it have big teeth? That's the one. Do you know of it? Oh, absolutely. This is rather exciting for us Zertan experts, but bad news for you because they called it the demon fish. They did? But why? It doesn't appear to be poisonous or aggressive. Well, it's a little unclear, but the Zertans were very afraid of it. Our records show that they had warnings against the demon fish and never went in the water if they had been spotted. Ooh la la, okay, then we might not be in the clear where the fish is concerned. Thank you, Mr. Parker, we'll be in touch. The pleasure is all mine. Please take this as a thank you for bringing me the exciting news of this species' mystical survival.
Just really hurt.
When someone breaks their heart, be soft. When that breaks yours, be strong.
You're lucky. And when I was your age, the only girl who would talk to me was Greg.
Life takes softness and strength,
I had no games, though.
which is why we make Angel Soft with a balance of both.
That's commendable. Delicious.
Now the interview's tape.
Fill you up with big days. Whether your day involves steam.
Kathy, what were you able to find from Louis LaRue's audio interview tape of Dream Life's satellite crash?
When we lived in iced teas,
For starters, there was a lot of static noise. Listening to a once broken tape is very unpleasant. But even when I managed to fix that, I still couldn't quite understand all the space technobabble. It isn't my forte. So I've invited an expert on the subject, Amir's boyfriend. Matthew Jasper is an astrophysicist, if you remember. Great. Glad to have you on board, Jasper. I gotta say, Matthew, what I heard on the tape was pretty alarming. The interviews themselves are harmless. They were just LaRue asking about the satellite crash and Dream Life experts giving standard answers. But the audio picked up a background conversation between two Dream Life employees who had no idea they were being recorded. And the terms they were using about whatever fell in the forest couldn't refer to a satellite. No satellite has a naturally generating Mason-Flopow field.
Outshine keeps it real. Real fruit? Real juice?
Excuse me.
Real
They were also clearly saying they wanted to hide whatever fell before anyone could get a glimpse of it.
So you can
What? So it's true. What crashed in the forest is not a satellite. So what is Dream Life hiding? No clue. It could be space debris or maybe some kind of science experiment. In any case, I doubt they'd be willing to discuss it with us. Matthew is right. Since Grayson's the one who spilled the beans about the satellite not being a satellite, we need to press him for more info.
Jane Goodall worked for an 8 to run, but that's impressive.
Well, welcome to my cell of solitude, Senior Trooper Matthew. Whatever can I do for you? We looked into the satellite issue you mentioned. Seems like you were telling the truth, and that what crashed in the forest isn't a satellite. So what is it? Ah, so you followed the breadcrumb trail I left you. Of course I hold the answer to your question, but you know how life is. You don't get something for nothing. What do you want then?
I would certainly have to discuss that with you.
I know you won't give me immunity for all my crimes, but I'll settle for significantly better incarceration conditions. And I do mean significantly, Senior Trooper Matthew. Fine. So what can you tell us? I don't actually have the proof on me. Obviously. I hid it at the bridge. I'm sure you won't have any trouble seeing through its disguise. Don't worry about us, Grayson. Senior Trooper Matthew, why don't we enjoy a good snack on our way to the bridge while this criminal enjoys his prison food?
No, he's fine. Matter of fact, he's so happy here, Janet, that I decided to keep him and raise him myself. He heard me. Well, he said that you and Michael spend so much time arguing that you don't have time for him. Don't you take that tone with me, Missy. Yes, I realize you're his mother. You know, I don't suppose I can stop you if you insist on coming back. But you let me tell you this. If you and Michael don't straighten up and give that boy the love and attention he deserves, I will kick your ugly butt till hell won't have it again. She'll call us right back. She has to wake up the Yankee. Well,
Absolutely.
that was no bluff. I heard every word of it. I'd love to have a chance to raise David. I might make up for the mess I made of Jack.
Here we go. Block 2.
I still wish you better stop at the airport.
Besides, it's when you all drive. Yeah, they've never ignored me on an island before.
David, you listen to me. Now they want the three of you to start over from scratch, so the least you can do is meet halfway.
Seems like that traffic post fell during the earthquake, Matthew. Why did you pick it up? Oh, right. It's not a traffic post. It's not a traffic post. It has a lock. It must be what Grayson used to hide his proof regarding the satellite. Let's unlock it. Zero 369 by X98. Got it.
That was so sweet of you. Tell me you can come live with us.
Matthew, Grayson's secret proof in that tube appears to be a file of blueprints, but I can't make heads or tails of them. We better send these blueprints to Jasper. Hopefully they're the answer to what Dreamlife is hiding under the dome.
Christmas keepsake week starts Friday here.
Another 6 hours. And I'll see you guys in the... Okay, we've returned. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up for 10 cash. Matthew, thanks for the blueprints. I can now confidently say what Dreamlife is hiding in the forest. I'm glad you're able to make sense of them. What were they of? For mentions of being a structure built to contain whatever fell from the sky and the date of construction, I conclude these are partial blueprints of the dome itself. And what's hidden under it? What fell in the forest if it wasn't a satellite? Certain technical mentions, such as chondrites, led me to conclude that it is a meteorite. A meteorite crashed into the forest, and Dreamlife hid it from everyone and built a dome to hide it. Exactly. Clearly they did it to have exclusive access to the meteorite, but what they're doing with it remains a mystery. I don't like the sound of this, Matthew. We'll need to regroup and inform the others. Matthew, I understand you've had a rather eventful day. What have you found out? Well, we learned that the mystery fish seen around Maple Heights is actually an ancient Zerdan species. It must have escaped from inside the Zerdan ruins when the ancient city emerged after the earthquake. That's rather odd. Ray hasn't mentioned any archaeologists coming across these fish. If they were in some hidden cistern, how did they even get out? Anyway, if I had to base myself on my favorite thrillers, any return of a species means chaos for the people involved. How worried should we be about this one? Well, we caught one, and it doesn't seem aggressive, but the Zernons did call it the demon fish and were terrified of it. Clearly, we still got a lot to learn about this species. I'll tell the mayor what we found. Meanwhile, Chief, we investigated what Dreamlife has under their dome. It turns out it's not a satellite, but a meteorite. They got to the scene of the crash before anyone, as though they were prepared for it. Then they lied to everyone, fenced out the area, and built the dome. I can't imagine what Dreamlife would want with a meteorite, but it can't be anything good if they're misleading the public. Yeah, and if we try confronting Rosetta about it, she'll either lie or be spooked and destroy evidence. It's clear that we need to keep investigating this, but in total secret. Nobody must know we're onto Dreamlife. I must say, Matthew, between the fish and the meteorite, we have our work cut out for us. That we do.
Doctors kill themselves and professional people do commit suicide. But fortunately, we've got the best.
I'm pretty sure the next case is going to be released on a Thursday. If my guess is right, it should be on the 12th.
I mean, you are going to want to die with
Yep, July 12th.
It's a very horrible, bad way to die.
So I'll go ahead and
decided to do a little investigating.
So I'll go ahead and add this and this, since I forgot about it, or forgot about a Daily OJ.
A receipt from next door that was first indicated she purchased the beans just 4 days before Michael first got sick. While consulting the textbook, Farrar learned some terrible news. The pasture beans contain ricin, a deadly toxin with no known antidote. And the same ricin poison were found in nausea, diarrhea, and
4 new ones.
which were identical to his own. Farrar quickly took a sample for testing, but ricin leaves the body quickly. No trace of it.
3 new ones.
Farrar was convinced that somehow poisoned him with ricin, and this is mysterious.
And another 5 new ones.
A few days later, Michael confronted Deborah during an angry telephone call.
I told her that I was very angry with her, that I thought she was crazy, serious psychiatric help.
Listen to this.
1 hour later,
Case 4.
a fire broke out in Farrar's family home. By the time the firemen arrived,
4, 8, 10.
I've never seen a fire
Wow,
spread
13 to 18, except 17.
The heat is tremendous. There's no way anyone can even get close to the house. Of course, the flames were blown out probably 20 to 30 feet.
Deborah and her 10-year-old daughter Jennifer both escaped. During questioning on the night of the fire, Deborah learned the tragic
And the last 3 in
two children had been trapped
this one.
and died in the fire. 6-year-old Kelly died of smoke inhalation in her own bed.
And nothing for this one.
10-year-old Tim
So, with that, Kay, So, in that case, we're going to say goodbye now, and I'll see you guys on July 12th. Thank you for watching.